Hello and welcome to the Riled Up podcast, an affiliate of outtapocketsports. I'm Riley Haltom. My co-host is Presley Rhodes, and joining us today is Bryson Wright, Grizzlies Twitter superstar, senior staff writer at Bluff City Media, host of the Next Gen podcast, and my good friend Bryson. Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. Excited to be on, the maybe not yet famous Riled Up podcast, but I can tell that it's going good places.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Soon to be.
One day.
All right. So, Bryson, you on Twitter, you got 13.5K followers. That's a lot of followers.
It's a lot.
So, tell us a little bit how you got there, how you got to that point in your Twitter superstardom.
Superstardom is a lot, but okay, so I can start. Honestly, this is what I always tell people. I started my account as a fan account, honestly. It didn't even have my face on it at first. It was more of something that I did because I would tweet about the NBA on my regular account that I had when I was in high school. But being from Nashville and not having an NBA team, nobody really cared. So, I would tweet and nobody would care about it. So I was like, okay, I decided to try to find kind of a community of more NBA fans because I didn't have a ton around me. And I went to Twitter to find that. And then that's where I found, a community on Grizzlies Twitter that has definitely grown a lot. I think that I take some credit for it, not all of it. A lot of credit goes to Molly Morrison too. But there's a lot of people on Grizzlies Twitter that have kind of grown at the last couple years to where it's at a point to where a lot of people, when I first started, can name maybe 3 or 4 Grizzlies fans that they had seen on there, and now it's there's a lot of people that are on there every day, and it's just really cool to see.
Yeah, and that's something that especially since I've met you, right? I didn't really follow the NBA like that a ton. I like Dame, that was about it. I would follow Dame. I would check on what Dame was doing. That was about it. And then when I met you, you kind of convinced me to give it a second shot and actually pick a team. And obviously because of who you are and where we are, I went with the Grizzlies. And so you are a big reason for that. And since that point, I've tried to, tap in a little bit with Grizzlies Twitter because that's my team now. I want to stay in tune with it. Right. And
definitely
there's a lot of
and it's crazy.
personalities on there, man. There's a lot of really cool people on there.
Grizz Twitter's crazy.
Oh yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool on there. I like Twitter, and then I started doing the Twitter Spaces and stuff, which I've met a lot of cool people doing those. And then it's just kind of creating a community of people that wasn't there before. It's really cool.
Yeah. So how long have you been following the Grizzlies?
So it's been honestly, I'll say as long as I can remember.
Really?
Now, not to this extent, because when I was really little, let's be honest, they were not that good. And I was in elementary school. So obviously I didn't sit down and watch every game. But I'll say that around the time when they added Zach Randolph and they started to really seem like they were putting it together. I was at one of those the first ever playoff win they had. I wasn't at the game, but I was at the game after that, which was their second one that they had in that first round series. So I went to one of the first playoff series where they actually won against the Spurs in 2011, which I was 10 at that time. So yeah, I've been following them for a long time, and it's been a long journey. This is now, I'd say this is probably the third iteration of the Grizzlies, or third era of the Grizzlies where I've really paid attention to it.
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit last podcast, where it's we're talking about memories and things that get burned into your mind. For me, it was Dame hitting that shot over the Thunder and the team rushing him on the court, and or things like the Juwan Jennings catch. The things that made us fans. Do you have a moment like that for the Grizzlies?
Okay, so there's a couple I could pick. My favorite one comes in 2013 because I was actually at this game, and it was Grizzlies versus Clippers Game 6. And if you don't know a lot about the NBA, Grizzlies and Clippers early 2000s, they had 3 years in a row where they played in the playoffs, and it was a very heated series. And this series had been heated. Grizzlies are up by 10 in the fourth quarter. Blake Griffin and Zach Randolph get into it, and Zach Randolph gets a technical foul, gets thrown out of the game. Grizzlies are up by 15. He takes his headband off, and he throws it into the stands, and everybody is yelling, "Whoop that trick." And let me tell you, that right there was like, okay, I like this team. This is a pretty good team, right? Because I was and it's like just being in the arena for something like that, and it was like they had the mascot, freaking Grizz, up on this ladder, and he was like waving his arms and stuff, and I was like, okay, yeah. So like that's one of my favorite memories. And then another one is like I was like we played the Thunder in 2011, and my dad like surprised me that we were going. I didn't know we were going. He told me we were going to like pick something up, and then we've been driving for like an hour, and I was like, dog, where are we going? This game starts in like an hour. And he was like, dude, we're going to the game. I don't know how you didn't figure it out yet. And I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. But I was like, yeah, he just threw me my jersey and was like, let's go. So those two memories are probably the ones that I associate with the being a fan and stuff like that the most.
Oh yeah. No, I love that. And that's something I love about the Grizzlies in general is like they are like the team itself embodies the city of Memphis so well, man. Yes. Just that energy that the fans bring to every game, like it's embodied in the team, man. I love seeing stuff like that when teams embody like the spirit of their fan base, and that's something I think the Grizzlies do some of the best in the like entire like in all of professional sports.
Definitely one of the best.
I think a lot of that comes from like their social media too.
Oh yeah,
of course.
And it's like some people do get on the social media team and saying they're too hostile or whatever, but that's kind of like how Memphis is,
how
you
Memphis
know,
is.
like that's just how it is. So
it makes it more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Follow them, like
definitely
be a fan or just follow them on social media.
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing that like when we had a similar discussion last podcast where it's like you love seeing the cocky,
I love it.
In your face type of like celebrations and things like that. And
yeah, definitely. And it's so weird because I feel like people often people try to have it both ways.
Yep.
Where they'll be like, I hate, back in the 90s in the NBA, they actually didn't like each other and they would talk trash and do all this. And then you like have a team that does it and it's like, oh, but we don't like them. They talk trash. And it was like, well, what are you looking for? Like, I get there's other things that you could talk about that we'll probably get into later that are different, like a different kind of thing. But if you're just talking about like talking trash and stuff like that, like, come on now. You know what I mean? Like, it's
fun.
It's fun. It's like every team talks. Now, the Grizzlies talk more than other teams. I'm not going to pretend like they don't.
No, yeah.
Any NBA player will tell you that too. I mean, they asked Zion, who's the most trash talking player in the NBA. He didn't name a player. He just named the entire team. So it's like it's not a question that they do, but I think that makes it more fun.
Yeah, that's something that I've been very particular about, and something that I'm a big champion for in like all type of sports is like you gotta get in there and have fun. Like that's the whole point of sports. That's why sports itself was like invented way back.
Yeah.
You go out there and you have fun, man. That's like the biggest part of it, and that's the kind of thing that I love to see, especially at the professional level, because it's like, these kids that you're playing, in the backyard or something, and like they look up to these athletes and stuff. So if they see these athletes having fun, they're gonna have more fun with the game themselves. Yes, exactly. It makes that type of thing stick. So I got something I want to hear from both of y'all, because I kind of answered this myself on my first one. My favorite my favorite team is the Grizzlies, right?
Yeah.
But my favorite non-Grizzlies player is Dame. So I want to hear, like, if you can't pick somebody on the Grizzlies, who is your favorite player in the league?
So we're talking current players?
Current or all time?
Current. Well, all time.
Do both actually.
I'll start. All time, it's Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Like,
great pick.
Dude, I'm telling you, when I was a little kid, like just watching him in those like 2008, 2009, 2010, those playoff series, those back-to-back series with the Celtics and stuff like that. I wasn't, none of us were old enough to remember like the Kobe and Shaq stuff, but I've gone back and watched it.
Right.
And I think the thing about Kobe that really drew me to him was like the everyday dedication to what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to get up and it's like, if I want to be the best, I'm going to do that every day. Like I love the Kobe story from the Team USA documentary where everybody else is going out. It's like LeBron, D Wade, Carmelo. They're coming in from their night out in Vegas for Team USA practice, and Kobe is coming down to go to the gym when they're coming in.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of like, and it's like when you're, and I think another reason why that drew me to him is like you put him on a team, especially that 2008 team where you have LeBron, D Wade, all these other great players, and they all deferred to him as the leader. And I think it's stuff like that that really shows like what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
and then current players, it's so hard because there's a lot of current players I like. I know he gets hurt a lot, but I've always liked Zion. I'm a big Zion fan. I think he's gonna be awesome if he can ever stay healthy.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick a favorite, that's so difficult. I think that right now it might have to be Jason Tatum. Just because it's just like the way that he's bounced back really this season and kind of taken his game to the next level after the way that last season ended for him. And kind of just to see the way that he's improved on both ends of the floor has been awesome to see. Probably not going to win MVP, but definitely an MVP candidate. And then that Celtics team has been really good. And then Giannis. I love Giannis too.
Yeah.
I like Giannis.
Who doesn't love Giannis,
yeah,
man?
that's a great pick.
I mean, yeah, and that's another guy that's like, dude, like his story is so awesome. And another guy who
it's
just
so
has
hard to hate
like,
Giannis.
Yeah,
man.
nobody. I don't know anybody that would say they just hate him or flat out don't even like him.
Yeah.
You can't not be a fan.
Yeah. Giannis' story, his personality, like in the interviews and
His
stuff, man.
personality in the interviews.
yeah,
is great.
definitely. And it's one of those guys like you can tell like he's just happy that he's there. You know what I mean? Like obviously he's gonna go down as one of the greatest players ever at this point. He already has a championship, finals MVP, all that.
Yeah.
But just the way that he, even since he came into the league, has like transformed his body and formed his game into a new player. It's just been insane to watch. I mean, this is a dude that until Jokic, he was the lowest picked MVP in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
So like it's not like he was a guy that everybody just expected a lot from, and he has really become the best player, in my opinion, the best player in the NBA today.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So Presley.
That's good. I don't know if I have an all-time favorite, but like I don't want to say this because I talked about it last episode, and I don't want to say it because I don't want everybody to. But like I've just been in love with Michael Jordan since the time I was like little.
I mean, yeah,
something about
that's fair.
but like I said, I know I talked about this last episode. I love the old school basketball. I love Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen. I don't know why. Just someone that's always.
Pippen.
I used to follow a fan account. I remember that. I know it sounds weird, but like they would post like old clips and like make it into like modern day edits, and it was really cringy. It was really cringy. But like I can go back and see like on my Twitter where I would like retweet it, and that's like low-key embarrassing, but like not really.
Go through and unretweet
like,
them.
I mean, I know, but like it's just something about it. But current,
Yeah, current favorite non-Grizzly.
I like Giannis. Okay, if you would have asked me this question 4-5 years ago, I would have said Melo Ball.
LaMelo Ball.
Okay, that's an interesting pick.
LaMelo Ball.
I also like the Hornets a lot. I'm not just straight up like love them to death, huge fan, but like I've got a couple like t-shirts, like I'll pull for them. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, look, you might be pulling for him a lot because they got a chance to get the number one pick. So
they do, but they're not. I don't think not near as much as I used to like follow them heavy anymore.
Yeah,
just because Grizzlies have taken that number one pick in my head, but I don't know if I have a current like right now.
Non-Grizzly.
There's so many good picks. I don't think I have like someone that I just like love.
Above the rest. Yeah. I mean,
like above the rest. Like I think everybody. No, I don't have one.
there's too many good players
There's
now.
a lot. There's a lot of good players.
And I saw like people nitpick about what a superstar is. There are a lot of superstars in the league right now.
I'll say this:
I think that's fair to say.
there are more people.
I love the league right now.
Yeah, there are more people in the NBA right now that could play at like any time. I think, And I think it's
Yeah.
just like from a talent standpoint, it's just like, especially talented on the offensive end.
Yes.
Defense, like
Okay.
it's now this is the thing, is that it's also not even that people just don't play defense anymore. It's really hard to play defense in the NBA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, cause
Yes.
People make that argument a lot.
no, like, and the reason why is if you've ever seen like a bad NBA player against regular people, you will understand why it is so difficult. Like, I saw like 45-year-old Brian Scalabrine beat one of the best high school recruits one-on-one, like 11-1. And it's just like, it's not even close. Like, these guys are just all on a completely different level. Like, if you leave Kevin Durant open, he might not miss.
Yeah.
You know,
World-class athletes.
It's just
Yeah.
like that simple.
That's the difference right now, man. It's a lot of world-class athletes in the NBA at
Yeah.
the moment. They're
And there's
just on
there's
whole
a
different
lot of
level.
guys that are just like low key, that are like low key good.
Yeah.
That you didn't know. Like
Low-key
there no, there are
I know
more
what you're
guys like averaging 20 points a game doesn't
Yeah.
even mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I remember
so
when I was younger, like if you averaged 20, that meant you were like one of the best players in the league. Like
Yeah.
Desmond Bane is averaging 21 a game this year. Now, obviously, I think he's a really good player, but he's not like he's not even a star.
No.
Like, honestly, I mean, he's a really good player, but it's one of those things where you averaging 20 doesn't even mean anything anymore.
Yeah, it's
and
the
that's
way the-
really
it's the
where
way
it's
the
got
league's
to this
It's
point.
changed. It's changed a lot.
Yeah, and that's just the direction. But I think it's a good direction to go in, right? Because people like to see offense. They
No,
like
I
to
don't
see.
think it's like going downhill or nothing.
Yeah, people like to see offense. They like to see flashy,
Yeah.
know, people dropping like 70-point games. Like, that's happened twice this season.
Yeah,
which is nuts. Yeah. Shout out Dame, man, what a player! But
that Dame
I
game was
love it, though.
ridiculous. This is
That's
what I'll
what I
say.
was
The crazy thing about Dame is that Dame takes shots that for any other player besides him and Steph Curry, you would get benched for taking.
yes, that's what I'm saying.
And it's like, where it's like, if it's like anybody else in the NBA, like even NBA players, like in that 71-point game, I watched him dribble the ball, take 2 steps over half court, and pull up like it was a free throw line, like mid range, and
Yes.
just knock it down. I'm like, this, and that's why the whole like era talk is so stupid to me, because it's like, dude, nobody's
Yeah.
ever been doing this before.
ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Ever.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
talent, and it's crazy though. Yeah, it's just changing like that to where, like, there's just people that can do things that you would never expect people to be able to do on a basketball court consistently.
Yeah.
You know, like John Morant, just about every game he's going up and he's, doing some crazy finish. And
Dude,
it's just
no,
like,
this is what
how?
I'll say. Like, and I think the thing that is the difference isn't just like when you look at the best players. I think the best players in any era would be the best players.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
For me,
I agree with that.
it's like how good guys that are coming off the bench are.
Yes.
Like, you've got guys that can
Yes.
come off the bench and might mess around and have a 40-point night. Which, I mean, not to say that never happened back in the day. Like, there were some
No,
times where
yeah.
you had like guys like Vinnie Johnson and stuff like that would come off the bench and just catch fire.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking like, you don't see, like last year Robert Covington had a 40-point game. You know what I mean? Like hey, TSU, shout out TSU, all that. But like, you know what I mean? It's the level of basketball from like top to bottom of the roster. Like, I saw like Austin Reeves hit
Dude,
a
Austin
layup
Reeves.
last night that probably would have been on most like a lot. It's gonna definitely gonna be on his all-time highlight tape. But I mean, like, even for some really good players, probably would have made their all-time highlight tape.
yeah.
And
Austin
it's like, this is a
Reeves,
dude
man.
that's coming off the bench and playing 20 minutes a game. And like, there's so many great players and so many just athletes too.
That's what a lot
Yes.
of it is. People are just insane now.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily just that people are more athletic now, which I think that's part of it. But I think it's also when you look at like, there's training at an earlier
I feel like
age.
there's a bigger drive to.
Yeah, no, and now it's like, well, you got to keep in mind that even when like Michael Jordan and them were coming up, like obviously the NBA, but that was like the first generation of guys where the NBA was like really like a valid option. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because like before Kareem and all them, like guys in the NBA still had regular jobs.
Yeah.
You know, like they had regular jobs and they also played in the NBA, you know, and then it's like kind of just to see how it's gone from that to where now you can tell a kid like, this is something you can look up to. It's like, hey, if you work hard enough, Now, obviously, you got to have some things go your way.
Yeah.
Like if you're 5'7", like okay, there's not much you can do.
Yeah.
But it's like
Sorry,
if you,
buddy.
it's like if you work hard enough and you've got like the athletic potential to do it, like you can be a millionaire in like
it can
12
happen.
years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
So
I
it's
think
crazy.
a lot of that goes into the like era we're in right now. Kids, especially like us, okay, we're getting to that age where like people our age, people we go to school with can get there, but we grew up on that watching Kobe, those people, and people back, like I don't want to say back then because it's not like it
wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago, but
the 90s,
there's
it was
so
30
many
years
more
ago.
People now are just, that is, you ask a little kid, you go to a classroom and you ask a little kid right now, there's going to be a little boy that probably says, I want to go to the NBA or I want to go to the MLB, because that's just something that I feel like it's way more pushed, and that's good. I'm glad that's the direction everything's
think-
going in. 'Cause
see,
it's
like,
really
and I think-
motivating.
It's another thing is where I think people are less of like telling people no, you can't do it now.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was a little kid, if you were like, oh, I want to be in the NFL, they'd be like, okay, but what do you actually want to do?
Yeah.
Well, now it's like, because I remember like even Alvin Kamara talking about it, like when he was in high school, people telling him like, no, like if you want to go to the NFL, like you got to dedicate yourself to doing that now. Like
Yeah.
don't let people just tell you that you can't do it or that you have to do this. Like, I mean, it's always great to have like a backup plan.
Right.
I wouldn't just be like, sell out to go to the league, but yeah, I think that it's a more viable option than it's ever been in the past. And there's so many different ways to get there now too.
Yeah.
So and I think with the talent that's coming in, especially in this draft class and the upcoming draft class,
man.
like
Crazy.
look at one of those like EYBL like AAU games. NBA is gonna be crazy in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like-
AAU's nuts now.
It's like, yeah, look, it's like 14-year-olds doing windmill dunks, and I'm like, dude, what?
Oh my
It's insane.
gosh. Yeah.
When
And
I
look at-
like when I was 14, if you could touch the net, like you were nice.
you were
Big
nice,
deal, you're a
man.
big deal.
Or
Look,
maybe
you can touch the net.
it's like now it's like they're in 8th grade doing like 2-hand like back scratchers, and I'm like, what even is this? Like, okay,
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of like crazy like prospects coming up, right? You got Wembanyama. Obviously, he looks different.
Look, this is what I'll say about him. If he stays healthy, no,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
gonna sound crazy, but he does have the potential to be the greatest player that's ever played basketball.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he has greatest of all time potential. Now, will he get there? Probably not. But
Potential's there.
there's never like this dude is 7'5" with shoes on, and I watched him dribble the ball up the court, and do like a spin into a left hand finger roll, and it's like it's like the stuff that Giannis does was already so insane for somebody at his size.
Yep.
And then it's like he takes it to another level with like
Yeah.
more ball handling and then a much better jumper.
Yeah.
It's like now he doesn't he doesn't have the defensive stuff, yes, but he still is a great shot blocker. I mean, he's 7'5".
Yeah.
But it's just when you think about it, how good Giannis has been, and then think if Giannis was a few inches taller and had a jump shot. And it's like okay.
Imagine, dude.
It's ridiculous. Like if you sit down and watch his highlights, like he's like 2K doesn't even let you make that player. You can't even make that play. Like they talk about video game, you literally cannot make him in the video game.
Yeah,
I tried. You can't do it. It's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like just behind him you got Scoot Henderson, who in any other
draft
is
would
a
be
unanimous consensus first overall.
yes. And then I remember that game, and I loved that we're at the point to where we are, where we had like that team where they brought Victor's team over to play the G League at night.
Yes.
And I saw Scoot, like you could tell like he was going after him.
Yeah.
And even Victor said that too. He was like, he got a lot of respect for him, and he was like, any other year he'd probably be number one. It's like, which is the case. I think last year he probably would have been number one.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make an argument between him and Paulo, but I think he probably would have been number one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a lot of really good talent coming.
maybe
into
not because the
league.
Magic, just because they have too many point guards already. But
Well, yeah, that's true.
in terms of the draft class,
Yeah, as far as talent, yeah.
In terms of just pure talent, I think that he would go number one a lot of years.
Yeah, he's ridiculous, man. And that kind of brings me to my next question. So, earlier today, I was just kind of, I was in between one of my classes and I checked my phone, and a good friend of mine, Kale, had sent me a text message, and it out of nowhere, out of the blue, we hadn't ever discussed this before, but he just texted me, if you had the ability to draft Bryce James when he becomes draft eligible, or Bronny James right now, like as you know what he is, what would you do?
It's so
That's hard.
It's difficult because we haven't seen Bryce as even a starter on a high school team yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it's really hard. Now, obviously, I think Bryce, he's taller, and that makes you think he has more potential, which usually, usually that is the case. Like, and especially since he's still younger and he's already like 6'5", 6'6", like not surprising if he could get to like 6'8", 6'9", like something like that, like closer to his dad's height. And we often see that younger brothers, not always, but younger brothers get the benefit of not only like learning from like their father, but they also learn from the older brother.
Yeah.
So I think that if Bryce becomes better than Bronny, it will be a lot because he had Bronny his whole life.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now when it comes to Bronny, I see that he's been moved into like the top 10 of this next like upcoming recruiting class and all that. And that's mostly just because like at Sierra Canyon, especially the last couple weeks, he has been carrying them kind of like through the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people want him to, like, they see he's not as good as LeBron was when LeBron was 17 or 18 years old, but there's only been like one player that was as good as LeBron was when he was 18 years old, and it's LeBron.
Yeah.
So to put that kind of expectation on him is too much. And then to expect him to come out and be like, I'm not saying, now I think he could be, I'm not expecting Bronny to come out and be like a superstar NBA player.
Yeah.
But if he is, I think he's going to be an above average NBA player because he can play defense and he can hit threes. And that's really all you need to do in the NBA to have a long career.
Yeah.
So I think that, plus, he has the athletic talents. I mean, look where he got it from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's not a question that athletically he's going to be able to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was
say
saying.
that?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of telling Kale is with Bryce, you've got like, I think with Bronny, right, you've got a chance for him, like he could go into the league and immediately be like a solid backup point guard or something like that, right?
Yeah.
He could go into the league and with a little bit of work, obviously, he's going to have to improve his game to match up with that NBA level talent that we were just talking about. Like, it's ridiculous all around the league. He's going to have to step it up a little bit, obviously. But as it stands, I could see him immediately like having a good like backup point guard like type role on a lot of teams. But you look at what Bryce can do like with his size and what he could like say he continues developing at the rate we're seeing. Like, you look at some of these highlight reel tapes like already that Bryce has, it's like, what?
I think Bryce has a lot more potential, but I don't want to say that. But like,
no. I mean, you wouldn't be wrong to say that.
Yeah,
like,
they're both going to be great players and solid. I mean, obviously, like you said, look who they. But I don't know. Just looking at it, Bryce is 15 years old right now.
No, and that's the other thing. And
he's got a lot of work he can do to improve himself. Like, he has
definitely
a huge amount of potential.
Yeah, and it's also that I think, well, the thing that you also see with Bronny is how high his basketball IQ is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, seems like he always makes the right play.
Makes a big difference.
Knows how to move the ball around.
Yeah, knows how to move the ball around. And I think that's the other thing is that he's like, Bronny is not flashy. Like, I say this every time somebody asks me about Bronny. When I look at Bronny, I see like Drew Holiday, where it's like a dude who he's going to go out there and he might not do like the between the legs, behind the back, all that. Yeah. And he might not look like one of these flashy players that you'll see, but at the end of the night, you're going to look up and he had like 18 points and he played great defense and he had like 8 assists.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll take that every game.
Yeah. That's a great comparison. I like that comparison a lot, Drew Holiday. It's going to be because I feel like these two especially, they're gonna have a lot of unfair expectations.
Yeah,
And the other
there's
thing
a lot
is-
of pressure on them,
And it's like,
and I think that's unfair. But
if Bronny becomes Drew Holiday, that is a success. I don't, and I think that people don't look at it like that. They'll be like,
Exactly.
oh,
They're
he,
gonna put
he
him
has
as
to be
dad.
a top 10 ever
Yeah.
to be like,
Yes.
they're
no.
gonna put them both to his dad.
Like, and then also, especially if you want to compare it to like, if you're talking about, oh, if they want to be, let's say they want to be the best basketball family. I mean, they're already pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, if Bronny and Bryce are just solid, like they're gonna have a really good case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Because who would you say the best basketball family is right now?
Probably the Currys.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they had Steph. I mean, Steph is, in my opinion, Steph is probably top 10, top 12 all time.
yeah.
Somewhere around
Then
there.
Yeah.
his dad was a really solid player, and then Seth has turned into a really solid player
Yeah.
too. So just having those three guys,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's probably fair. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of, there's some older ones that you could go for, but I'm talking, if you're talking about like right now, I'd probably say
Yeah.
Curry.
Curry's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I like the Currys a lot. I like Seth Curry a lot, man. Watching him play,
Bro,
bro.
nah. Seth is one of those guys who he gets underrated because of his brother, which it
Exactly.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
overlooked.
He definitely gets overlooked, but it's funny because it's because his shots are easier. Like, he doesn't take as many shots as Steph does, but like statistically, Seth shoots a higher percentage from three than Steph does,
Yeah.
which is like pretty funny for their career.
Yeah, it's just it does suck that I mean the James kids are gonna go through the same thing, right? Where
They
they're
definitely
Yeah.
are.
they're gonna get put up next to LeBron their entire
That's
careers.
a lot.
And yeah, it's just
That's
a
a lot.
tough like.
And it's also true
expectation.
that like we've never really seen the son of an NBA superstar go to the NBA and be a superstar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And it's like, and
possibly two.
yeah, exactly. And it's also a lot of times when you do see, you know, like the sons of former players that end up going to the league, the good ones are usually from guys that were like solid bench players. Like, you know,
Yeah.
Del Curry, I mean, he was a good player, but it's not like he was out there, you know, averaging 20-something a game. Like, he was a
Yeah.
really good shooter and all that. Like Klay Thompson's dad was a solid player. I know he was a top pick, but he never really panned out, you know.
Right.
And then like I'll even look like now like Jaren Jackson Jr. Like his dad won an NBA championship with the Spurs, didn't play a lot, but then now his son led the league in blocks last year, probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. So it's just like, it's really interesting to see how all that works. And yeah, it's going to be cool. And it's funny just to see like how many sons of former players and stuff we're going to have in the league the next couple years.
I'm excited for the future of that. Yeah.
what's
that's cool.
God, what's his name? The one that's always on there. He's always getting posted on like NBA like media channels. Whose son is it? Jason Tatum's son?
Oh, Deuce.
Deuce, yes,
Dude.
Deuce.
Dude.
Yeah, a couple years when we seen Deuce on these 14
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
view
give him a
highlights.
couple years.
He's gonna be windmill dunking and stuff.
Oh,
It's gonna
hold
be
up.
like, oh Lord.
I mean, if we're going to keep talking about this, you know we got to watch out for Kean Anthony, too. Carmelo's son. Which that's going to make a lot of people feel old, too. So, look, if
that's
if
a
you're
little-
feeling old thinking about Bronny, just wait a couple more years.
Jeez.
Carlos Boozer's sons are supposed to be really good. They're both like 15. And they have like millions of views on YouTube already. It's going to be crazy.
It's gonna be nuts.
It's going to be nuts in the next
Gosh.
couple years.
That's gonna be so weird. We're all gonna be watching everybody's kids.
Carmelo's another player that I like a lot. All time.
Nah, that's what my dad always said is like when he started seeing guys that he grew up watching have their sons in the league.
That's a little.
That's when he started being like, "Dang, I'm getting old."
No, yeah, that's kinda,
You know?
that's weird.
So I mean, it's wild.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited for what the future holds for the league. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun coming up.
Yeah.
But look, we've avoided talking about it so far, but you
We'll
knew it was
talk about
you knew
it.
it.
Yeah,
You
I
knew
got
it was
you.
coming.
talk
You knew it
about
was
it.
coming. We got to talk about Ja Morant, man. So we all three, everybody in this room, right? All three of us here at this couch like Ja Morant a lot, right?
Love 'em.
We like Ja, like I said, second favorite player. Presley's favorite player. Bryson, probably your what?
See, this is what I'll say. It's different for me is because Ja Morant has even like it sounds crazy to say, but Ja Morant changed my life. like
That's not weird for you to say.
like
I feel like for a lot of people that's cheesy, but for you, he literally did.
No,
like
so.
not
There's
like
a difference.
like
There's a
not to the
difference.
point to where like I would have been like homeless or something,
right.
if it wasn't for him. But it was like him responding to stuff on my Twitter account gave me the
Interactive.
credibility that I have now, and ended up getting me a job covering the Grizzlies.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's
Yeah,
not
so,
cheesy
like,
for you to say.
Yeah, so it's like that. That is why I'm always gonna support Ja Morant, but I'll also say that dude is tripping.
Yeah.
Dude is
Dude
Yeah.
is tripping.
So,
Dude is tripping.
I know we've got
Don't
some
like
people
it.
that watch this that do not follow the NBA much at all, but basically, Ja Morant on IG Live flashed a gun, and now he got suspended for 2 games by the Grizzlies, and then now he's away indefinitely. He released a statement saying he was gonna looking for better ways to reduce stress and things like that. So he's working on himself. He's away from the
Taking a
team
little
for
time.
now. So yeah, we got to talk a little bit about that because he's been in the headlines a lot recently.
Yeah.
Past a little bit. It's been a rough little stretch for Ja's PR team. So
Yeah, for sure.
Bless
And
their
then,
heart.
yeah, I'll say this. So I'll stick with, I know there's a lot of other stories. I'm just going to stick with the big one because I think when you look at the whole situation of what happened, I think like the gun is the part that got him in trouble.
right.
But I don't think that the gun is actually the biggest part of the conversation in terms of what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Like right now, like obviously having that is an issue. That's the biggest issue. That's what everybody's going to investigate. But for me, it's more the, like Steven Adams held the meeting about players going out when they're on the road. This is the night after a game that they lost, and you're out at a strip club at 3:00 in the morning,
Yeah.
right? Probably some substances. I'm not going to,
I mean,
you know
watch
what I
the
mean?
video? Y'all
Exactly.
watch the video?
That's
The
what I'm
back
saying.
of it?
Yeah, like there are there's
mean-
is, and I think it's more like obviously the gun is the part that is getting the most attention, and rightfully so, because that is
Yeah.
the part that is possibly illegal. Did he have it on the team playing or whatever? That's the questions that they're
Yeah.
looking for now, that could lead to like suspension and stuff like that from the actual NBA and not just like within the team. And really, like, he hasn't been officially suspended by anybody. It's more like they're kind of just telling him, hey, stay away from the team a little bit, get yourself
Take a
right.
minute, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that the main issue has been just, like he said, dealing with stress. I think that he goes out and he does things that he probably shouldn't be doing in order to try to deal with the stress of becoming an NBA superstar,
Yeah.
which is something that, as much as I think that he believed he could do it, is one of those things where, you got to remember like 5 years ago when he was a freshman at Murray State, nobody cared
Nobody.
about what he did.
Yeah.
Nobody cared if he rapped Young Boy lyrics on Instagram
Yeah.
Live and flashed that. If he had done that 5 years ago, nobody would have cared.
Wouldn't
And
be a
it's-
story.
It would
wouldn't-
not be a headline.
Like nobody would. It's like, oh, some kid at Murray State did this, whatever, right?
cares?
And now it's getting to the point to where he has to realize the
I think
position that he's in.
Yeah, I think he's still trying to grasp that. I mean,
And it's
been
like,
quick,
and he's,
too.
and
Like,
he's young.
yeah, he is. And
Yeah, he's basically a kid. I mean, doing this, like he's not like fully an adult yet, right? Because like they say, oh, 21, whatever, that's an adult, but you're still like your brain is still developing and maturing for
21?
way after that.
You're still a kid.
Yeah, you're still I mean, you're still super young, and he's had to grow up
Yeah, he has.
so fast in the limelight, in the spotlight. Like when he makes these mistakes, right, they're amplified by 1,000,000 because of who he is and what his status is
Yeah.
as a superstar in the NBA. I mean,
And you see that happen a lot throughout any professional leagues.
yeah. You see it a lot with young players everywhere,
Yeah.
where it's like they have to grow up really fast sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a rapid development of their circumstances, such a rapid change, right? That now they are the center of attention, and everything they do is being magnified by 1,000,000.
And then the other thing is it's not just like that's from like the outside point of now everybody's watching you, but I also think it's something that's important like within the group of people that he hangs around. Because
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of jokes about where Ja came from or
Yeah.
whatever, but like when you actually look at it, like he came from a part of South Carolina that's not the best part.
No.
He's not always been affiliated.
Yeah, it's one of the most
best
like
people.
dangerous places in South Carolina.
Yeah.
People are
super
now,
poverty stricken.
and now I get it.
It's a rough area.
It's like I get it, not to say that he was always a part of that. No, he has his parents, all that, and like had a house, all that. It's not to say that he was just like some poor dude or whatever. Like I get it, but it's like you still gotta remember, like these are the influences that he's had around him from a young age. Now, whether that's somebody and it's also like learning that just because this is somebody that was there for you when you didn't have anything doesn't mean that you owe them something now that you have stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that it's like learning stuff like that. And I think maybe some of the influences around him aren't the best.
Yeah,
and I
I
think
agree
it's
with that.
part of like not only him maturing, but also the people around him maturing as well. And I'll look at like LeBron, because LeBron is somebody who had obviously grew up in not the greatest place and stuff like that. And he was probably at even a worse like disadvantage than Ja was. But what he did was he brought his friends with him, and he did stuff like, I'm going to send you to college.
Yeah.
So you could like, and I'm looking like, can we get some more stuff like that,
Yeah.
Out of Ja, yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of, because it seems like right now he's kind of just letting these people kind of like roll with him, which is like, that's cool at some point, but it's like you can't do that with everybody.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a lot of things where like he can go out and he can still go out and like, if he wants to go to a nightclub or whatever and drink or whatever, like you can do that, right? But you got to be careful about who you're surrounding yourself with, careful about how much you're drinking, careful we wouldn't even be talking about this if he doesn't go on Instagram Live.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
Like there's no like, and that's just like he could have had the gun and we would have never even known about it.
Yeah, you can do it, but there's a place where the line is drawn.
Right. And but
what you
especially
do
once you like amplify, you publish that out for everybody to see, right?
Yeah.
That's
and you're
where the
in the
issue
public
is.
eye already.
And then the other thing is it's not even like somebody else videoed you like in the corner and saw you. Like, nah, that was you. Like
you personally did
you
that.
personally did it yourself. And it's just like, you got to think about repercussions of stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, and you're seeing that.
And it
and it's
sucks,
not just Ja that's
but
doing it either.
No, it sucks. People have to grow up fast.
Yeah.
Like you said, but you've got to think about it before you do all that. I mean, they're just
Because who was it that posted that video of it was like they took a video, they were in a car and they took a video of somebody, was it Anthony Edwards?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's another thing where it's like it's just a bad decision, right? You just can't do that type of thing, and you've got to like dial it back, say, just think about things twice before you do them,
a couple times before you do them.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in the light like that.
That's that's the issue, and that's where I think the whole issue with Ja is coming from. So yeah. We got one more piece of NBA drama to talk about. Kendrick Perkins, JJ Redick on First Take talking about who should be the MVP. And Kendrick Perkins insinuates that the MVP voters are racist because Nikola Jokic is probably going to win it again. And JJ Redick was very much against that. So, Bryson, let's talk a little bit. Who deserves the MVP this year?
This season, Nikola Jokic, I think, does deserve
I agree
it.
with that.
If you look at it just like statistically and in terms of the fact that his team is first in the West and all that, I think he deserves it this year. I think what people are more like, the reason why he wouldn't get it this year is more because of voter fatigue. And I think the other thing that people are looking at is that 3 MVPs would put him into a realm where all the other people that have 3 MVPs have multiple championships.
Yeah.
Because you're talking like LeBron, Jordan, Larry, like all of these guys, like Larry Bird, guys that have won multiple championships, and Jokic doesn't have that part, right? And I think that's the thing why people are saying he shouldn't win it for this 3rd year in a row. My argument is that he probably shouldn't have won it last year.
Yeah.
That's what I would have said. As much as he did have like an incredible season and he did carry that team, it's like I think what Kendrick Perkins is seeing that he should have said, which I don't think it's not a race thing at all.
Yeah.
That's not what it is, right? But I think he's trying to say is that people are moving the goalposts for Jokic to win MVP. Because last year they were like, oh, well, seeding doesn't matter if you're that good, right? And then now this year, oh, well, he's the West 1 seed. It doesn't matter if some guys are scoring more or whatever. His team is better. It's like, well, you didn't do that same thing with Joel Embiid last year.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's what should be talked about that isn't being talked about, is that it's not that he shouldn't win it this year. I think that this year, if you look at in history of the NBA, a lot of years, a guy who was the best player on a team that has, if not the best record, I think they have the second best record in the entire NBA right now.
Right.
You're going to get a lot of MVP buzz regardless.
Yeah.
But it's more of the fact that this would be his third in a row that is the issue. It's not that he's not a good player and that he probably doesn't deserve it this year. I think it's more people are worried about the fact, does he deserve 3 in a row? And then they're also bringing in more postseason stuff to where this is a guy that's about to be a third straight MVP that didn't make it out of the first round last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of it's an interesting conversation for sure. But I do think Kendrick Perkins was definitely in the wrong. And like I said, I told Riley I would. So I don't even know if Riley remembers this, but I said I would tell this story because Kendrick Perkins has come after me on Twitter before.
Yeah.
What?
So
What?
So this had to be this was when, like I said, I said Ja is one of the reasons why I got this job. So I tweeted something. It was after the Grizzlies played the Lakers last season, and Ja was out, and they were playing the Lakers. They had LeBron, Anthony Davis, all that fully healthy, and I think it was around December, and the Grizzlies went in there and they won by 15. And I remember I got up the next morning and I get on and I'm like, I'm going to watch First Take and see what they got to say. Because they never used to talk about the Grizzlies before. They talk about them now.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, even just a year ago, the Grizzlies were not in the national spotlight. Because nobody, Ja was still kind of developing and stuff like that. But he wasn't to the level he is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had made a tweet where I had been just turned on First Take, and they didn't mention a single Grizzlies player. The entire segment, they were just talking about all the thing the Lakers did wrong to lose. The only Grizzlies player they mentioned was Ja, and Ja didn't play.
Yeah.
Right? And then Ja responded to that and said nothing new or whatever, because they always do this. And I also, in that tweet, I tagged Kendrick Perkins. And I said, I'm really disappointed because usually you show the Grizzlies love, but you just decided not to today. And then he came back and he was like, relax, give me some time. I'm going to be on NBA TV in about 45 minutes. And then he actually went on air and he was like, yeah, I was talking to this guy. And he was like, they didn't talk about the Grizzlies. They only talked about the Lakers. And it was like, well, here we are. I hope that Ja's watching. We giving y'all credit. And I was like, that was pretty fun. So, but
pretty fun.
Yeah, no, that one was funny. That was funny. But yeah, in this situation, Kendrick Perkins is in the wrong for this.
Yeah.
You know what that
Not
just
even a
reminded me of?
question. What's
Something that we didn't even talk about between you and the national media. The Grizzlies getting that Christmas game. We got to talk about
I don't
that.
want to talk about the Christmas game because the Christmas game was so
Okay,
nasty.
it did not turn out how you wanted it, but we got to talk about how it came to be. Like that, tell us that story because that is still so cool to me.
Okay, so that story, that one's funny because when I tweeted that, because keep in mind, I tweeted that, I think it was like June 18th, and I tweeted a Christmas game between Grizzlies Warriors and San Francisco is all but guaranteed at this point, right? And then Ja responded and was like, nah, in the end, bring him to the trenches. And then it was Draymond Green came back and responded to him and was like, nah, the champs play at home and all that. And then Ja was like, oh, okay, we going to be on your block, whatever. So all that's going on. So I'm at my house, right? Because like I said, I just randomly tweeted this. This was a couple weeks before I was about to leave for summer league and stuff like that. And I'm chilling, and I didn't even see it for like a good 20 minutes. which was the funny part. So like all this is going on, and like my phone is buzzing and stuff, and I'm at like we're having like a family dinner like at my house, and then so like I check my phone, and I'm just like, what is going on? And it's just like people are like tagging me on Twitter, people are DMing me, people are texting my phone, like texting me from high school that I haven't talked to in like a year, talking about, dude, did you see Draymond Green's tweet? And I'm like, no, I didn't see Draymond Green's tweet yet. So then I go, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then somebody sends me this thing where it's like NBA on ESPN, and it's like a picture of Ja, a picture of Draymond, and then it's like my tweet in the middle. And I was tripping, dude. I was like, no way. And it was like NBA on ESPN posted it. And then like, that was funny because.
That's insane.
Like, and it's funny because my family still, like my parents, like I love my grandparents too, but I don't think they really understand Twitter like that. So they didn't really understand what was going on until I showed them, and I was like, nah, this. But once I said Ja Morant and Draymond Green, they were like, what? Like, I was like, I know who those people are. But it was like, yeah, it was.
That's nuts. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's like my favorite thing that's happened to anybody that I know in like a while. Like that's such.
So
a cool,
like
that
that's the first time the Grizzlies ever got a Christmas game. And this is what I will say: as much as it did not go, like I went to the game, so I was in the arena, and it was like
all the way to San Francisco.
Yeah, it was tough. Like it was definitely a tough game. But I think that the way that I look at it, in 5 years, if the Grizzlies play on Christmas consistently, like if they're playing on Christmas consistently in 5 years, nobody is going to care that they lost the first one.
Yeah.
No.
So it's like, I'll still say, you know, I was a part of the reason why they got the first.
I was about to say,
ever.
do you take credit for that?
I don't take full credit for it.
I think
partial.
You should take
he deserves.
I'll take
partial
credit.
He definitely deserves it.
Yeah, you do.
I think that Ja gets most of the credit, because if Ja hadn't responded to it,
then it wouldn't.
It wouldn't matter.
Well, yeah.
So that's what I always say. It's like, hey man, look, at the end of the day, I was just a kid with a phone.
Yeah.
You know,
Have you like met him like in person?
No, I haven't
and,
met him in
talked
person.
To him, like shook his hand or something.
Nah, well, I shook his hand once, but I didn't get to talk to him. That was before all this happened, though. It was like I got to go down on like the court and like high five people when they came on. That was like before. That was before I'd even like responded to him.
It got you like.
Oh no! It doesn't. Trust me, it doesn't get you as far as you think.
I know. I get it, but
now
if I
see, the other thing is
more than one. Y'all have more than one interaction.
That's the truth. I think that
several interactions.
If I lived in Memphis now, it would probably be a little different. Which I'm planning on living in Memphis at some point. Yeah. But like, I probably would have if I was actually down there. But I did get to talk to Desmond Bain and Taylor Jenkins when I went down for like this open practice thing. They gave me credentials and let me interview some people, so I got to talk to them. That was pretty cool. But no, I haven't got to talk to Ja before.
You got a picture with climbing, right?
Yeah, I got a picture. If you want to go, like, this is probably my favorite story. If I don't know, so
go for it. Yeah, tell us.
I was in summer league, right? And so I'm kind of just chilling. I'm kind of watching. Really, I'm waiting to see like what players are kind of sticking around, seeing what's going on. And then I noticed like Zach Kleiman just like walking, you know, talking to people. Okay, whatever. So I was just kind of watching, see what's happening. And I see him walking, which he wasn't walking towards me, but he was walking in like my general area. So I just stopped. I started talking to him, introduced myself. And he like knew who I was.
Shut up.
After I introduced myself.
So cool.
No, like that's what he was like, and mostly because he had seen Ja reply to my stuff before.
Yeah.
And he kind of I got to talk to him for a few minutes. We got to take a picture. He was like, "Yeah, you can post it if you want to or whatever." So it was pretty cool. Like I got to talk to him for a little bit, talking about like his. What he thought about the rookies and everything. Got to talk about and it was after a really good game too. Like it was their best game of the summer league, so he was in a good mood. So I think that's a good thing. So, but yeah, I got to talk to him for a little bit, and dude, he's an awesome guy. So Zach Kleiman, top tier dude, really nice. Like
that's good. That's
down
cool.
to earth guy.
Yeah, that's such a cool story.
My
But
head
yeah,
would be
no.
so big if I
You're
was
getting
you.
to big places.
Not really
bro.
though, but like kinda. Like I would just go to sleep every night thinking about all the interactions I've had.
Yeah, no, like that. No, that
I
one.
really
Now I will
would.
say, like that one was like that was the one that threw me off because because going into it, I was like, okay, I was trying not to freak out a little bit.
Play it cool.
Trying to play it cool. But then as soon as I like said my name and he was like, oh, I've seen some of your stuff before, like all of that went out the window.
Yeah,
and I was just like, what? Like, okay.
That's
So
insane.
it was pretty cool. But yeah, that's one of my that's why I'm gonna be back at Summer League this year too. And if you like basketball, honestly, even if you don't like basketball that much, I know y'all are both like I don't know if y'all have ever been out there to Vegas before. And
Never been to Vegas. No.
yeah,
Nearby.
it's awesome. Like
Let's go.
just Vegas itself is awesome. Like it's a fun place to be. But if you like basketball, like there's no better place to be for 2 weeks in July than Vegas, except for the fact that it's so hot.
Yeah.
It is so
Yeah.
hot.
I like
Yeah.
the I
Like
heat,
it,
though.
no,
No,
but
that-
it's
No,
that
but
would-
it's different heat.
it's not even like I like the hot. I'm talking like it was 90 at 8:00 in the morning hot.
Oh no.
Like 120 by midday hot.
Oh no. Oh
120.
god.
120.
I don't know
Yeah.
if we should go anymore.
Yeah. No, because you got to keep in mind this is Las Vegas. Like it's July,
It is
like
July.
6th through
In
the
the
17th.
desert,
Yeah.
in the
Like,
desert.
Insane.
It is.
That's peak
It's
summer.
the hottest. It is literally like one of the hottest places you can be.
Yeah.
Like just on the planet, really. Like the Vegas during the summer is just one of the hottest
Yeah.
places you can be.
That's true.
So it's crazy. But the good thing is it's so hot that it's actually less packed. Vegas is more packed like in October because it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
70
yeah.
Yeah, it
and
feels
everybody
good
wants.
then.
Yeah, like everybody wants.
wants to go then.
Yeah, but nobody wants to go there in the summer.
Yeah. All right. We gotta talk about. Well, let's talk a little bit about March Madness, right? Lady Vols
March
and men's
Madness.
team. Where do we think? Where do we think they can go?
So the Lady Vols, I think, have it's so weird, but I think they have a higher ceiling in terms of how far they can go.
I agree.
I do too.
Because I could see them messing around, and like especially after I saw them beat LSU.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was good.
So it's like you're telling me like if they're good enough to beat LSU, if they play at their best,
They've got it.
like they have a chance. Now they're not going to be a Final Four team or nothing like that, but I could see them getting to the Sweet 16. And another
Just
thing
in the Sweet
is
16.
no, I could see
Where do
them
you
getting to
think-
the Sweet 16 and then and that's going to be the
Correct.
question of
It's going to depend. Yeah, who they're matched up against.
yeah, it's going to depend on who they get
Yeah.
matched up with in the Sweet 16. Because I know last year, they made the Sweet 16 and then they got matched up with like Louisville. Like, okay. That's
Yeah.
like so if they
It's
make
tough.
the Sweet 16
tough.
and now you got to play UConn once you get there, like you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
But it's
They
all
played
it's,
UConn close though earlier in
they
the season.
did.
Didn't
They did. They played UConn close, but still, a lot of that team was hurt at the time too.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Sick
true. That's
and,
true.
like,
That's
all
true. That's
that.
true.
Have
That's
like
true. Very true.
3,
Very true.
4
Very true.
there.
Yeah.
So it's like
starters.
it's like they're good enough to where if you're not one of the like 20 best teams in the country, you're probably not going to beat Tennessee. But if you are one of the 20 best teams in the country, you probably are going to beat.
I think they
That's
could beat
valid
some of the.
statement.
I think they
could
could.
pull an upset. But
No, they
really
like,
They could
just-
definitely.
they can.
beat
I
some
mean,
of
they beat
those.
LSU,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's why I said probably. Like they
Yeah,
still
yeah.
have a
they're gonna
chance.
be doing everything.
But you got to keep that. Like in that game, like Rakia Jackson had
She's so crazy.
had to go nuclear. Like she had what
Yeah.
30 in that game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
now, if Jordan Horston and Rakia like that's what it's going to come down to. Both of them are
Both
going to
of
have
them.
to be incredible
Yeah.
because like the rest of the team, they don't have they have some girls that can give you some offense from time to time. Like you might get a 3 from Sarah Puckett here and there. I really like Julian Hollinshed.
Yeah.
I like her. And I think that she's been really good, especially since Tamari Key's been out.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's gonna come down to Horston and Rakia are gonna have to play incredible in order to carry them anywhere. Even if they want to even make the Sweet 16, like they're gonna
Yeah.
have to be incredible.
Yeah.
That's fair. I agree.
But
For the
I
men's
think
team.
but I think the men's team, it's gonna be tough without Zakai.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a struggle
Because
right
they don't have a true point guard. I mean, they have BJ Edwards, but BJ Edwards hasn't played. You know what I
Right.
mean? He's played a few minutes here and there. So I think that's going to be the problem is they don't have a pure point guard. And in college basketball, that pure, like having just like the guy that can run the offense to perfection is so important.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a team like Tennessee that they do not have a single ISO scorer.
Yeah.
Like they do not have a guy that can get a bucket by themselves.
Yeah.
I think
everybody has to score in the offense.
Yeah. Of any player on the team to go down, I think Zakai had to have been like the most damaging loss.
Oh, for sure.
Because he's basically the only true point guard.
Yes.
And like I said, not to say that Zakai is an awesome ISO player, but he's a guy that has shown that in big moments he can go get you a bucket.
Yeah.
But there's not many other guys on the team that you can see doing that. No. Now, if they play their incredible defense and they hit their 3-pointers, they're going to have a chance to beat just anybody.
Yeah.
Like they like I mean, you saw they beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Right? And Alabama is one of the best teams in the country. Earlier in the season, I know they're not as good now, but they beat Gonzaga.
Yeah.
You know, they beat Kansas. So it's like they have the talent to do it. Obviously that was with Zakai too.
Yeah.
But it's like
hurt a little bit, but
you know, and it's like, and then you just can't have a game like last year where against Michigan you shoot 18% from 3 for the game. Like, and I think that's the issue is that there have been too many games where they just haven't been able to hit anything.
Yeah.
It's like even that Auburn game, I know they won that game, but it was so ugly.
It was bad. It was ugly.
But it's like their defense is good enough to where they're going to be in games, but
I think that's why I like this team so much, man. Because I've said this before, I like gritty, like defensive type games, man. I love those. Like, sure, like the high flying, 3-pointers, everything. Like, that's cool too. Like, that's always fun to watch. But I like when like teams are like getting down there in the paint and just like you see blocks and steals and like just tough defense. I always love watching that. And
that's the
I think that's part of why I like this team so much. Because they do that. They do that to a very high level.
That's true. No, there's not even a question about that.
Jamai.
But at the end of the day, in March Madness, you have to have a guy.
Yeah.
Like you have to have that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And but I think we could see somebody step up, right?
No, that's a big thing. Like now, maybe you see a guy like Josiah step up. Maybe you see Julian Phillips do more. I know he's a freshman.
Yeah.
Julian Phillips.
But maybe Tyreek Key can be a guy that can step up and have some big games.
Because we've seen flashes of that from him from time to time where he's able to just go up there and get his bucket whenever he wants.
Yeah.
But he's got it, like, it's been inconsistent. He's got to bring that consistently every game.
Especially now.
For the Vols to, like, elevate themselves to that next level. All right, well, we're like an hour. So
we got a lot.
Bryson, we appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I appreciate it. Hey, it was fun for sure.
Yeah, I had a good time, man. You're one of the first people I thought about when I was like, who do I want to bring on the podcast? Because I know you're good at this and you're a lot of fun to talk to. So
got some great stories.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
So, yeah, you can find him on Twitter at Bryson Wright 3. That's right?
Yes, that's right. Bryson Wright 3.
At Bryson Wright 3. We'll have him tagged on everything, so you can find him there. So yeah, we appreciate Bryson for coming on. We appreciate y'all for watching. As always, we'll be back probably next week again.
Do it next week.
Yeah, we'll probably be back next week. We go on spring break, so it'll be a little disjointed, but we'll probably be back next week with another episode for y'all. And yeah, we appreciate everybody for watching, everybody for supporting. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.